All right, we are live. What's going on, guys? Let me just tweet out the stream really quick, and then we can get into it. We got a good amount to talk about, 9 games. We're still waiting on some injury news, right? Specifically, Karl Anthony Towns is the big one. Yeah, I'll try to break down everything quickly. So, as always, let's go over what we know so far. So let me go back to the beginning of the day here really quick. Okay. Let's see, that stuff is just practice. Gordon Hayward got rolled out, so that's pretty big news. With him out, now I really like Kemba, I really like Jason Tatum, I really like Jaylen Brown. All three of those guys, still no Marcus Smart too, so those big three for Boston stand out as really solid plays in my opinion. LaVine available to play, I like him a good amount in a spot against Washington. I like a lot of the Chicago guys, almost basically the whole starting five. I really like Wendell Carter Jr. as well. Let's see, J.J. Redick is probable, so that takes Lonzo and Hart out of play, in my opinion. Unless Lonzo gets rolled out, then you could consider Josh Hart. But all in all, with those secondary, Pelicans guys, I'm probably going to stay away tonight. Let's see. So we're still waiting on the Cat. Again, that's the big news. Embiid's playing. We expected that. Drummond and Blake are playing. We expected that. Washington starters, Thomas, Beal, Bonga, Bertans. So Bertans now in the starting lineup with no Rui. Washington's really thin up front with no Bryant, no Mo, and no Rui. So, Mahimi maybe picks up a few more minutes. I think Bertans gets some extra run. I'll talk about some other really cheap guys. I don't think they have to get there. That might, get into the rotation. Still no Fred VanVleet. So, that's a boost to, the other guys. Lowry, Siakam. And then a big minutes bump to a guy like Norman Powell's been playing over 30 minutes consistently now. Raptors, same starting lineup. And that's kind of what we got so far. Let me move this over here really quick. Okay, let's go over some over-unders and spreads for the games that are out right now. They should all be out, sorry. I might have to refresh this. I don't know if it refreshed. Okay. So, Hornets, Cavs sitting at 212. The Cavs are by 2.5. Bulls, Wizards at 229.5. The Bulls are by 1. The Heat, 76ers at 209.5. The 76ers favored by 8 points. Raptors, Pistons at 217. The Pistons are favored by, or the Raptors are favored by 3. Grizzlies, Thunder at 220. Thunder favored by 6. Pelicans, Timberwolves, 231.5. Minnesota favored by 6.5. Magic Nuggets at ugly 205 with Denver favored by 9.5 points. Boston and the Mavericks is at 216 right now. Boston favored by 2. The late night hammer is Golden State and Portland sitting at 220.5 with Portland favored by 9.5. So before I get into breaking down each team, if you guys enjoy this free content, right, I got videos up every single day as well as live streams. Would appreciate if you guys could just hit that like button. But yeah, that's it. So let's jump into the team-by-team breakdown. So we'll start with Chicago. And honestly, like I said, I like the whole starting five here for Chicago. LaVine, Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., Sam Ramsey, Chris Dunn. All have been playing, pretty consistent minutes, especially Markkanen, Carter Jr., and LaVine of getting like 35-plus a night. LaVine is the thumbnail to my video for a reason. He stands out as one of the better plays at this price. The ownership, I don't know if he's going to be that high on, right? There's a lot of solid plays in his price range, so maybe he could fly a little bit under the radar, but I might take a stand here. This is a really good spot, and I just like his shot attempts, right? 16, 21, 25. It's, again, I talk about this a lot with Washington, but you can't get a better spot than this, so I do have a good amount of interest there. LaVine at 8.1K. Same thing with Wendell Carter Jr. at 6K. Minutes, last 2 games, 36 and 38. So if he's going to continue to play those type of minutes in a matchup where Washington's missing like 3 of their centers, then I have a lot of interest in him. So I like Wendell Carter Jr. I like Lauri Markkanen at 5.9K if you don't want to go Wendell Carter Jr. I think Sam Ramsey and Chris Dunn are even viable. Sam Ramsey, it's a revenge game. The minutes have been a little bit more up and down with him, right? 24, 26, 28, 33. If he hits that high end, I think he's got some good upside. Chris Dunn at 5K is an okay option. Doesn't have the huge upside either, but he's a guy that probably will get close to 30 minutes. As far as the bench guys, Thad Young, Kobe White, those are just like GPP darts. I don't think I would feel confident targeting those guys in cash games. But yeah, again, brief overview of Chicago. As far as my cash game targets, I think it's Levine, Wendell Carter Jr., and Markkanen. I think those three stand out as really safe plays with upside in the best possible matchup. If we move over to the Washington side of things, again, they're really thin up front. No Rui, no Bryant, no Mo Wagner. So they're going to have, the bigs are going to have to play some decent minutes. Mahimi played 25 in that last game against Detroit. Did Rui, was he injured in that game? So he got injured, I think, midway through that game. Yeah, he's only played 17 minutes. So, I think Mahimi's minutes go up a little bit at 4.6K. He's an okay option, not a huge upside guy, but I get if you want to go there for salary relief. Bertans, it's he's already been playing big minutes, but I think the usage goes up a bit even more with him. I think he is very, very much in play at this price point. My one concern with him is he is kind of scoring dependent. Normally doesn't do a whole lot other than shoot threes, which can be a little bit worrisome, but. Again, he's going to have to play big minutes in this one. I think 35 plus, so he's very much in play at 6.5K. As far as Brad Beal at the top at 9.5, I think he's an interesting contrarian play for GPPs. The way roster construction kind of works as of right now is it's a lot of the mid-tier guys, right? Like those Boston guys, some of the Timberwolves if Cat misses. I like the Pelicans. There's just a lot of guys I like in the mid-tier. So spending way up on a guy like Beal is a little bit contrarian. So if you feel comfortable with some value guys, you can definitely go there. But I'm not going to go out of my way to get Beal at that price. Ish Smith, Isaiah, with Isaiah back, definitely takes Ish Smith out of play. Isaiah only for GPPs. The last couple games, he was out for a few games, came back, played 26 minutes. Don't know if we can expect him to shoot 9 of 13 again, so I think he's only for GPPs for me. Let's see, as far as the other bigs go, maybe Bonga gets a little bit of run at the 5 possibly, right? They're just really thin. They could use a guy like Schofield, who will probably get a little bit of run, but I just wouldn't feel great about targeting these guys. Like, yeah, you can go there, but I really think the ideal build as of right now is to just build around a lot of the guys in the mid-tier. So these really cheap guys, don't think we have to go there. Again, Mahimi will get a little bit more run. You can go there. I think he's an okay option. Bertans is going to be pretty popular. He's going to have to play big minutes. No issue if you want to go there. I do like him a decent amount. The one concern is he is somewhat score independent, and then Beal at the top as a contrarian play. Troy Brown at 5K. One of those, if you land on, it's fine. But again, I'm not going to go out of my way to play him. So that's kind of my thoughts with Washington. I think I like the Chicago side a bit more. But there are some interesting plays on the Washington side, especially Bertans, who I think is going to be pretty popular. Miami and Philly. So this game is just, I don't have a whole lot of interest in it. 209.5 over under, very, very low. I think the second lowest of the night. Philly's favored by 8. Like Jimmy seems a little bit underpriced. Same with Bam, but it's a really tough spot. There's some foul trouble risk with Bam. Again, Jimmy, it's a tough spot. Philly, one of the best defensive teams. As far as Nunn and Hero go, seem priced appropriately with no Jokic and Winslow. We know they're going to play decent minutes. Duncan Robinson, too expensive for my liking. Derek Jones Jr., now the price is up. He's even questionable if he misses. Some of those other guys, maybe like Kelly Olynyk gets a little extra run. So that is something we do have to keep an eye on. But all in all, it's just really kind of a fade unless you really want to get contrarian here. I just don't think we have to go there, at least for cash games. Like for GPPs, sure, you could look to Bam, you could look to Jimmy, but I just think I like guys in other spots that are similarly priced. And on the Philly side, kind of the same thing. I think Tobias and Horford are safe plays, right? They don't have like 50 fantasy point upside, but they're probably going to, Horford will probably get you 25 to 35. Tobias probably around 35, maybe 40. Ben Simmons at 8.2K is okay. He's been a bit up and down. Again, I don't think we have to go there in the slate. Embiid, if you want to get contrarian and spend up for him, you can. But again, I really think the mid-tier as of right now is the ideal build, at least for cash games. So this game in general, just kind of a cross-off for me. Really nothing that stands off the page. As far as Charlotte and Cleveland goes, This is an interesting game because I think it's going to go very under-owned, but there are definitely some interesting pieces here. Now, I don't necessarily know if some of them are cash game viable, but let's talk about it here. Charlotte. So Graham and Rozier at the top. Graham at 7.9, Rozier at 6K. We know what these two guys is. They're going to play mid-30s minutes in a close game. This one should stay close. Cleveland doesn't play a whole lot of defense, so Graham and Rozier definitely stand out as decent plays. I think they both go a bit lower owned because there's just chalkier guys that I think are going to be higher owned, right? Like guys like Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I think those guys eat up a lot of the ownership. So these guys that are similarly priced, I think go a bit lower owned. I think I would prefer Rozier to Graham. I know he doesn't have as much upside, but this price tag stands out as a pretty decent play. Now Cody Zeller, he stands out as a great GPP play. He's played 29 and 31 minutes in back-to-back games, no PJ Washington. Cleveland runs big, so I think Cody Zeller will probably get close to that again. The slight concern is they do have Biyombo, who has also been playing decent minutes as well, right? 28, 25. And they do have Marvin Williams they can use. But, just the thing with Charlotte's rotations, it's just so inconsistent. You can never really trust it. I know Cody Zeller has played close to 30 in back-to-back games, but it's really hard for me to put my faith in that for cash games at least. So that's why I think he's definitely for GPPs. Biyombo as well, but I think I like the upside more for Cody Zeller for 700 more. So definitely would look there for GPPs. Bridges, again, it's just he was having off games, so they went to Malik Monk at 3.3K, who had a huge game, played 27 minutes, 45 fantasy points, right? Definitely don't think we can expect that again. But at 3.3K, if he gets like 25 minutes, I think he's viable. The concern now is, though, they do have Batum, I believe, is going to be back. So, he could be back in the rotation. It's really hard to trust this Charlotte rotation, at least for me. It's very inconsistent besides Rozier and Devontae Graham. Those are the guys we know are going to get the big minutes. Everyone else, it's kind of up in the air. So, yeah, Graham and Rozier, you can definitely go there for cash games if you want to. Cody Zeller for GPPs, 100%. I like him a good amount. Marvin Williams, even as a cheap option, you could look there. And Malik Monk for GPPs. Again, if Monk's not playing well, they could limit him to like 10 minutes. So that is a concern. That's why I don't know if I can do it for cash games. But Monk and Cody Zeller for GPPs, and then Rozier and Graham for both GPPs and cash games are really the targets I'm looking at. On the Cleveland side, Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be active, so Clarkson I don't think will play as many minutes. Nance, Osman, don't think we have to do it in this slate. Really, Garland, Sexton, not for me. It's Tristan Thompson is Love for me. I think Love has a little bit more upside. We know with him and Tristan Thompson, they will get about 30 minutes in a close one. This is a pretty solid matchup. So I do have some interest in Love. I do have some interest in Tristan Thompson. I think their fringe cash game plays definitely on the verge. You could look to them as well, GPP. So those are really my only two targets on the Cleveland side, not considering the secondary pieces at all, really. So that's what I got for Cleveland. Toronto and Detroit. Let me check Fantasy Lab, see if we got any more information. We got, 30 minutes until lock. Let's see. Jared Jones Jr. is active. Karl-Anthony Towns got ruled out. Okay, so that's the big news we're waiting for. Now we can really load up on the Timberwolves. I'm probably going to have to rearrange my lineup now, but yeah, I will talk about that when it gets there. I really think the ideal build now is to try to get at least a couple Timberwolves in your lineup, maybe even 3. So first, let's talk about this Toronto. Toronto Detroit, not a super appealing game. Siakam and Lowry, we know we're going to play the big minutes, but they don't stand out as great plays here. Powell, I don't want to chase, right? He had a big game. I think I'll let others chase that. Don't think he's put up 53 fantasy points again. Gasol and Ibaka, just like, nah. So, again, Toronto, kind of a cross-off for me. On the Detroit side, it's more the same. Not super excited about anyone with Drummond and Blake back. Blake would probably be my preferred target at 5.9K, but, he has had that knee injury. Maybe they limit his minutes somewhat. He stands out as a decent play because of the price, but as of right now, with the news that just broke, I don't think I'm going to get there. And the secondary pieces are not for me with, Drummond and Blake back. So, Detroit-Toronto, a game that's not super appealing. Now we get to the main course here with Pelicans and Timberwolves. So first, let's talk about the Pelican side. We have Lonzo Ball listed as questionable. if he can't go, that's a boost to J.J. Redick. That's a boost to Josh Hart, who I think gets a big minutes bump. He played 40 minutes the last game. Did go to overtime. Drew and Ingram, I do have some interest here, and these guys at the top. We just know they're going to play like mid-30s minutes in a close one. This one should stay close now with no Karl Anthony Towns too. Both teams play very little defense, so I have interest in Ingram. I have interest in Drew. I like both those guys a good amount. The one concern is it is a back-to-back, and they did go to overtime, but I don't think they're going to limit their minutes that much. So Ingram and Drew at the top, I do have a good amount of interest there. J.J. Redick at 5.5K, coming off the groin injury, is an okay option. He's a little scoring dependent for my liking. Again, Josh Hart, you can go there if Lonzo Ball misses. He's just, again, 5.3K, just okay. Favors has been limited the last couple of games to 20 minutes. I haven't heard of anything of a minutes limit yet. If we don't hear anything, I think we're going to get more of the same of him limited to like 20 minutes, right? I don't think he's going to randomly just come out and play 35 minutes. So I think we get more of the same with Favors about 20. So Jackson Hayes actually stands out as a pretty decent option at this price, 4K. No Karl Anthony Towns too. So that's a boost to him, right? That's less foul trouble risk. I think we get about 25, maybe 30 minutes out of him. So he stands out as a pretty decent value play. Kenrich Williams at 3.7K. Just a very low usage guy. Going to get about 25 minutes. I don't think we have to do it on this slate. A guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker played 23 minutes with no J.J. Redick. If Lonzo Ball gets ruled out, maybe he gets close to that again. He's a guy that you can look to for GPPs. We know, right? We saw it in the preseason, in the summer league. This guy does have pretty big upside when he gets time. So you can look there for GPPs if Lonzo gets ruled out. But that's kind of what I got. So there's a good amount to like here on the Pelican side. It's Ingram and Drew at the top. You could look to Josh Hart if Lonzo Ball gets ruled out. If Lonzo Ball's in with JJ, Lonzo Ball, and Josh Hart, it would probably just be a stay away. It would really be the guys up top that I want, and then a guy like Jackson Hayes at 4K. Stands out as a pretty decent value play. And then a guy like NAW only for GPPs there at the flat minimum price, but that would be only if Lonzo Ball gets ruled out. Then the Minnesota side. So this is the big news, right? It's not updated yet on Draftkings, but Karl Anthony Towns is out. I don't think they have announced a starter yet. I assume it's going to be Gorgie Jang. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet, but now I want to load up on these Minnesota guys. Wiggins, Teague, Covington, all three. I love all three. I think Teague is probably my favorite for his price at 5.8K, but all three probably get over 30 minutes. They get a huge usage bump with no Cat, right? We know Cat just ate up a lot of the usage there in the offense. So Wiggins, Teague, Covington, I love all three. I think you can definitely play two of the three, maybe even all three if you want to. And then Gorgie Jang, I assume he's going to pick up a start. Again, that's not announced yet, but he stands out as a really good value play. Now, the concern is they do have other bigs they can use, too. They have Jordan Bell at the flat minimum price. They have Noah Vonleh at the flat minimum price. They can give minutes to, right? So I don't think Gorgie Jang's going to come out and play like 30 minutes. But if he starts, I think it's pretty safe to project him for like 20 to 25. And at this price, he'd become a really, really good value play. So, that's something, again, the starting lineup's not out yet, but he stands out as a really good value play if he does start. The secondary pieces, I think, are a bit riskier with like a Koji, Culver. These guys will, probably get a little extra run. But I just don't feel great about it. Napier maybe gets a little extra run. Really, the guys I really feel confident about are the Covington, Teague, and Wiggins. I like all three of those guys a lot, and Gorgie Jang too if he starts. Those four I feel really confident about. Now, if you want to pivot off of a high on Gorgie Jang if he starts, it would be a guy like Jordan Bell and Noah Vonleh, who I think get in the rotation for sure. I think Jordan Bell has been on the fringe of the rotation. I think maybe he gets like 15 to 20 minutes at the flat minimum price. We have seen in the past he is a pretty good fantasy point per minute guy. Same thing with Noah Vonleh. So if Gorgie Jang starts, he's obviously going to be really popular. If you want a risky pivot in GPPs, you could look to Bell and Vonleh. But all in all, really, it's the guys I feel the most confident in are these top four here with Wiggins, Teague, Covington, Gorgie Jang. I think Teague being my favorite for his price. But, I love all those guys. The value guys, besides, the bigs with like a Koji, Culver, Napier, Graham, you can take shots here and there, but I just feel really good about those, those main three guys. So, all in all, guys, I want a lot of exposure to this game now with no cat. I just want to load up on the Minnesota side, and you can run it back with a couple of the Pelicans too. So yeah, definitely probably gonna have to rearrange my lineup a bit here. But let's talk about Memphis OKC. This game is interesting. It's gonna be super low owned. No one really stands out as a great play. JJJ and Jonas Valanciunas not getting as many minutes with a guy like Brandon Clark back, right? Like, Brandon Clark's been playing about 25 minutes. That limits the upside of JV and Jaren Jackson Jr., so don't really want to go there. The value guys, not for me. I think I guess my preferred target would be a guy, Ja Morant, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get him. Again, I prefer other guys similarly priced. So Memphis, not a whole lot I like. Kind of the same thing on the OKC side. It is a good spot. Chris Paul's been playing really well. If you want to continue to ride that hot streak, you can. I'm going to go elsewhere, though, with the news of Karl Anthony Towns being out again. I'm going to load up on the Minnesota guys. So CP3 is okay option, but I'm not going to go out of my way to play him. The other pieces with Adams, Gallinari, SGA, Schroeder, it's not for me, right? If you really want to go there, you can, but I will not be going there. So that's what I got from Memphis to OKC. Not a whole lot I like. Orlando, Denver, kind of more of the same thing here. Really tough spot for Orlando. Denver on the road, one of the best defensive teams. Fultz, Gordon, Fournier, Isaac, complete cross-off. Same thing with the bench guys. Will not even look to them. Vucevic is the one guy I will consider here at this price at $7K. He is underpriced. The concern is it is a back-to-back, and he's coming off an injury recently, right? This will only be his third game. But he's probably going to have to play 30-plus minutes against Jokic. So I do have some interest there of Vucevic at $7K. I think it's only for GPPs, though. I think that's, I don't really know if it's a cash game play. On the Denver side, I have a little bit more interest here. Will Barton and Jamal Murray in the mid-range at 6.4, 6.2, I think are standouts, pretty solid plays. It's just, I don't know if I'm going to get to them now with that news of Karl Anthony Towns being out, right? So those guys maybe only for GPPs. Jokic, same thing at 9.1. I think he's a contrarian play. He's been really good. The price is appealing. I just don't know if he's going to fit my ideal cash game build. So, Jeremy Grant, we can also look to if Paul Millsap gets ruled out. If Paul Millsap plays, I'd probably stay away from the secondary pieces and really only look at the big three there. If Paul Millsap gets ruled out, we can look to Jeremy Grant. So that's kind of what I got for Denver. It's really the big three there with Jokic, Barton, Jamal Murray. I do have some interest in for GPPs. Don't know if I'm going to go there for cash games. And then Jeremy Grant, you could definitely look to if Paul Millsap gets ruled out. The cheaper guys, not for me, so that's what I got. Boston, Dallas, there's a good amount to like here. So on the Boston side, we got no Gordon Hayward, no Marcus Smart. So these big three of Kemba, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown, I like a lot. Kemba at 7.4K. Just gets a usage bump. He's going to play about 35 minutes in a close game. He's just underpriced. I really like Kemba. He's probably going to be really popular, but I don't think I'm going to get away from him in cash games. Tatum and Brown. Tatum's been dealing with a sinus infection. I think maybe that lowers his ownership a little bit. I think he's going to be good to go. Brown, I like a good amount too. So those big three, I like a lot. I think I would rank them Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. But yeah, I think you can play one or two of those Boston guys for sure. As far as the secondary pieces, Cantor only for GPPs. The minutes are all over the place. Tice, I just think we don't have to go there. Wanamaker might get a little extra run, but the issue with Boston is they will use other guys as well. Like they can use Semi Ojeleye in the rotation, who is just completely gross. Like they got Green, Edwards. They have Grant Williams. They have other guys they can use. So I don't want to take a shot in the value guys. It's the big three for me, and I like those guys a good amount with Kemba, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. On the Dallas side, so no Luka. There's obviously a lot of usage and minutes to go around. The guy with the biggest minutes bump so far has been Jalen Brunson, who has started the last couple games, 34 and 32 minutes. Now, the concern with these secondary pieces is the minutes are all over the place. Hardaway Jr. was having a bad game, only got 24 minutes. Seth Curry had a good game, got extended to 26 minutes. The game before, only 19. So, he is so up and down. 12, 59, 38. I can't do it for cash games. These secondary pieces are only strictly GPPs for me with Brunson, Hardaway Jr., Seth Curry, DFS, DeLon Wright, Powell, Kleber, even JJ Barea might get in the rotation. Those guys are all only GPPs. I just can't trust the minutes in a tough spot against Boston. The one guy I think you can consider for cash games is Porzingis at 8.3K. I know, not necessarily the best spot, but we know he will get 30-plus minutes in a close one. He gets a huge usage bump, so I do have some interest there in Porzingis. The secondary piece is only for GPPs. I just can't feel confident with the minutes on those guys. Last game of the night is an interesting one. I think it goes very, very low owned now with the news we just got, right? I think at least the cash game plays are going to be a lot of the Boston guys, a lot of the Timberwolves guys, a couple of Chicago guys, maybe a couple of the Pelicans. I really think that's probably the safest way to go. So this Golden State Portland game, I think goes a bit forgotten about. Really for me, with Pascal looks like he's coming back. He's an interesting option at this price at 4.6K, but the hip injury, right? That does worry me a bit. Maybe they limit his minutes. They just have a lot of guys that can use, like a guy like, where is he? Damian Lee started and played big minutes with Pascal back. It just throws a wrench in everything. It's another one of those I can't feel confident about these guys in their minutes. The one guy, or the two guys I can feel somewhat confident about are D'Angelo Russell and Draymond Green. Russell, I think, gets over 30 minutes in a close game. Golden State's terrible, so if they're going to keep this game close, he's probably going to have a pretty decent game. I think he's a good tournament option. He's going to go super low owned. Draymond Green, the minutes have been a bit up and down. The game did turn a blowout, so only played 26. Before that, though, 39, 33, and 30. So if he gets over 30 minutes, I think he's a decent option. Another guy that I think goes a bit lower owned. But that's really what I got for Golden State. It's D'Angelo Russell, it's Draymond Green that I have some interest in for GPPs. Don't think I can go there for cash games. On the Portland side, I do have some interest here, but these guys I think are only contrarian plays. As of right now, like for cash games, I just don't think they fit the ideal build. So Lillard, Whiteside, CJ McCollum. Obviously, it's a good spot. Golden State doesn't play a whole lot of defense, so if you get to these guys, that's fine with Lillard, Whiteside, McCollum. The thing is, they're priced up a bit. I just don't think they fit their ideal build, right? I really think the Boston guys stand out as better plays. I think the Minnesota guys stand out as better plays. I think the Chicago guys stand out as better plays. I think the Pelicans guys stand out as better plays. So these guys are another situation where if you get to them for GPPs, no issue, but I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm not going to play them in cash with Lillard, Whiteside, CJ, Carmelo, Bazemore. Now, if we're talking about the late slate, then I would have some interest there. I think the late slate would probably just be this 2-game slate. I don't know. But either way, on the Portland side, I think they're only GPP plays. And I think I only have interest in the starting 5 with Lillard, Whiteside, CJ, Carmelo, and Bazemore. I guess my favorite of these guys would probably be Whiteside, but his price is way up to 8.5K. So, yeah, that's what I got on the Portland side. Again, I think they're only GPP plays, but let's see if we got any more news and see who's going to start for Karl-Anthony Towns, if we got that yet. Okay, let's see. Drew Holiday, JJ Redick won't have a minutes limit. Derek Favors will remain limited to about 20 minutes, so that's pretty big news. With him limited to 20 minutes, I think Jackson Hayes stands out as a pretty good play at that price. And that is basically it. So let's get to some questions here. Let's see. Grant Williams, I just don't think we have to do it for Boston. Yeah, I couldn't get to any Chicago in cash. I don't think you have to play the Chicago guys in cash, right? Like, I have interest in the whole starting 5, but there's other plays, right? The Boston guys, I like a lot of those Boston guys, the big 3 at least. I like a lot of the Minnesota guys. I like some of the Pelicans. The Cleveland and Charlotte guys are interesting. So you don't have to play any of the Chicago guys in cash if you don't want to. Admiral, see, that's another one where he will get more minutes on the Washington side, right? They're really thin up front. He's, 3.7? My issue is I just prefer similarly priced cheap guys. I prefer Jackson Hayes. I prefer Gorgie Jang to Schofield, right? Hayes is 4K. Gorgie Jang is 4K. So they're very, very similarly priced. And I just think the upside is a little bit higher with those guys. Now, Schofield will go a bit lower owned, and he's not center eligible. So that is, I guess, somewhat of a boost. But yeah, I think I just prefer Hayes, and I prefer Gorgie Jang if he starts to Admiral Schofield, who are similarly priced. Kemba or Holiday for cash? I think it's Kemba. Drew, I do like a good amount, but I just think Kemba is the ideal cash game play right now with no Gordon Hayward. I like those big three for Boston a lot. Last spot, Rozier, Wendell Carter Jr., and Markkanen and cash. That's really tough. I will go Wendell Carter Jr., but I think all three are cash game viable. Carter for me, yep. Thoughts on Markkanen over Teague in that price range, GPP and cash? I don't think I personally wouldn't play Markkanen over Teague. Now, that doesn't say I don't like Markkanen. I do like Markkanen a good amount, but with no Towns, I don't see myself getting away from Jeff Teague. Yeah. Let's see. Who's all just asked if he can play? Carter. Jonas Valanciunas or Wendell Carter and Dame or Jimmy B and Draftkings. Well, they're different prices, right? Jonas Valanciunas or Wendell. So Jonas Valanciunas or Wendell Carter. I would go Wendell Carter Jr. just because the minutes are going to be higher. We know that. J-Val with Clark back. He doesn't have the 30-minute upside in my opinion. So I will go Wendell Carter Jr. there, and then Dame or Jimmy Butler for DraftKings. I'm not super high on either, but I will lean towards Dame because it is the better matchup. Going for Wolves, viable or not? I think that is viable. Again, my build right now, I have 2, but I think I'm going to try to get 1 more in maybe. We got a little bit of time here, so we'll see. Markkanen over Tatum. I don't think I would do it. I just feel more confident in the Boston guys. So I would go Tatum over Markkanen. Any go-to guy in the 4K range? Is it Jang, Hayes only? Well, I mean, let's see. 4K, Jeremy Grant, if Millsap gets ruled out, I think stands out as a decent play. It depends how high up you want to go, right? Like Mahimi will probably get more minutes. I think he stands out as a decent option. Then it's getting too expensive. So below that, let's see. Dorian Finney-Smith, you can take a shot on. He's a really low usage guy. He's okay. He's definitely okay. I would personally prefer Jackson Hayes and Gorgie Jang if he starts. Let's see what else. Cantor only for GPP. Like a lot of these guys are just GPP only in my opinion. So yeah, I just think Jackson Hayes, with Favors still on that 20 minutes limit, I think he gets about 25, maybe a little bit more. And at 4K, he stands out as a pretty decent play in my opinion. And then Gorgie Jang should, in my opinion, start. The one concern with him is they do have Noah Vonleh, they do have Jordan Bell, so he's not going to play 35 minutes like Karl-Anthony Towns is doing. But I think if he starts, he's probably safe to get 20 to 25. And if he does, at that price, he stands out as a good option. So Marvin Williams, you can look to too. It's just those Charlotte guys, the minutes are all over the place. I wouldn't feel as good going there. Yeah, like I said, there's other guys for sure you can get to, but right now, like if we're talking cash games, I think the most safe options are those 2 cheap bigs with Hayes and Gorgie Jang. Let's see. This is my ugly sweater lineup. Monk, Troy Brown, Bertans, Siakam, Clark, Draymond, Butler, and Jaylen Brown. So that's a very, very contrarian lineup for sure. Isaiah Thomas or Troy Brown, not super high on either. I guess for cash games, you probably go Troy Brown. He's been getting more minutes. But I don't feel great about either of those guys. Is it safe to play both Teague and Wiggins for cash? Yes, I think it is. Again, I have Teague right now. I'm probably going to try to get either Wiggins or Covington in there too. Do you like Bertans? I think he stands out as a pretty good option. The one concern is he is somewhat scoring dependent, right? He normally doesn't get a whole lot of rebounds or assists, but he's going to stand at the 3-point line a lot and shoot. If his shot's not falling, he could somewhat hurt you, but they really don't have a whole lot of options. I think he gets 35-plus minutes. Chicago does run big too, so yeah, I think he's a pretty good option. Teague, Wiggins, Bertans, Markkanen, Whiteside, Troy Brown, Jaylen Brown, and Jang is my line. Yeah, so that's a pretty safe line in my opinion. I think Troy Brown and Whiteside are the 2 guys that are a bit riskier, but other than that, that seems like a pretty safe lineup. Isaiah or Troy Brown, boys, again, if we're talking cash games, I guess I'd go Troy Brown just because I think he gets a little bit more run at 5K. I think Isaiah maybe is a GPP option who, in my opinion, has a bit more upside, but they do have Ish Smith, so yeah, I think it's Troy Brown for cash, or Isaiah for GPPs, but I don't feel great about either of those guys. It's safe to play both Kemba, Brown for cash. Yep, I have both Kemba and Brown right now in my cash game lineup. Maxi Kleber GPP. What's his price? Let's see. He's at 3.6. You can do it. You can. Like at that price, he doesn't have to do a whole lot to get you there. I just think those Dallas guys are all GPP plays besides Kristaps for me, because the minutes, the rotations are just all over the place. Any news on Millsap? I haven't seen anything yet. Zeller, Hayes, Mahimi, or Marcus Saul. Well, they're different prices, so I like Zeller the most out of those guys. But if you can't get to them, I think Hayes or Mahimi are pretty decent value options in my opinion. Gorgeous Jong is gonna burn us all. He could. Again, I will only go there if he starts. If he comes off the bench, I wouldn't feel great going there. If they start Jordan Bell or Noah Vonleh, then you obviously look there. The concern again with Gorgie Jang is I don't think he's gonna play the huge minutes because they do have other bigs they can use. Hayes or Jang and cash. I mean, that's tough because I have both. I will go Hayes as of right now just because we don't have a starting lineup for Minnesota. Rui and Bryant are out. Maybe he has to help on the boards. Yeah, that's a good point for sure. I think he plays huge minutes. He stands out as a pretty good play at 6.5K. Thoughts on Beal? I think Beal is a contrarian GPP play. Right now, for cash games, it just doesn't fill the ideal build in my opinion. Okogie or Chris Dunn, they're different prices, so if you can get to Chris Dunn, I would prefer him. Like Drummond at all? Not super high on him. A tough match against. It's like probably one of the toughest spots for him against a guy like Marcus Saul. I think it's just a GPP only option, and I don't feel great about that either. Jaylen Brown or Bertans. That's tough. I will slightly lean towards Jaylen Brown there. Will Barton and Wendell Carter or Drew and Eric Pascal. I will go Will Barton and Wendell Carter Jr. there. Pascal, the hip injury worries me a bit. Golden State has so many guys they can use, so. Yeah, I will go with those two. Jay Brown or Pascal. Definitely Jaylen Brown there. Wendell Carter, Porzingis, or Ingram and Bertans. Give me Ingram and Bertans. Game stack Minnesota versus New Orleans. I'm all about it. Right now, I have 4 guys in that game. 2 on the Pelicans side, 2 on the Minnesota side. I might try and... I don't know. I like this lineup a good amount. We'll see. I might try and move some things around. Kemba, Bertans, Jackson, or Kevin Love, Brown, and Plumlee, assuming Millsap is out. I would go Kemba, Bertans, Jackson for sure. Nobody talking about Thompson. Yeah, so that Cleveland-Charlotte game will be very low owned. And that game is somewhat appealing. Tristan Thompson and Love on the Cleveland side. Rozier and Graham as the safer options, I guess, from the Charlotte side. But you can look to Malik Monk or Cody Zeller for GPPs. Teague, Jaylen Brown, Ingram, Carter Jr., Hayes, Kemba, Wiggins, Jang. Let's do it. Really similar to mine. Almost identical. Yeah. Is Bell viable? I think he's GPP viable for sure. He's going to get more minutes. If he starts, then I would feel more confident with him. So he's viable for GPPs. Any Lillard and McCollum in small lineups? I think for GPPs only. Again, I don't think they fit the ideal cash game build. There's just the Minnesota guys, the Boston guys. Would stand out as a lot safer here. Brown will rebound too. Troy Brown, yep, that's true. Monk, Clarkson, or Duncan Robinson. I don't feel great about any of those guys. I guess Monk for the price at 3.3K, but yeah, I would go Monk for his really cheap price. Gallinari or Valanciunas in cash. I do like Jonas Valanciunas. It's just his minutes are not going to be. I don't think he gets over 25. They got Clark. They have JJJ. They have him versus Gallinari for cash. Let's see what Gallinari's 6.3. I think you got to go Gallinari for cash, just because I just don't see Valanciunas playing huge minutes. Cauley Stein, not for me. I think only for the late slate. In cash, I got Kemba, Brown, Wiggins, Carter, Gorgie Jang, Teague, Bertans, Rozier. I like that a lot. 47 left for forward. Who y'all like? Let's see. Forward, 47. So I would go Jeremy Grant, definitely, if Paul Millsap misses that game. If not, you could look to Pascal if he's not going to be limited. But, again, the concern is the hip injury that Golden State has a lot of guys they can use now. Yeah, I think it's definitely Jeremy Grant if Millsap gets ruled out. Ish Hart or Satoransky for GPPs. I will go Satoransky there. A revenge game, the best possible spot. So I will go Satoransky there for GPPs. If he hits the high end of the minutes, right? If he gets over 30, I think he can definitely get you there. So I will go Sato. Wendell Carter, Porzingis, or Ingram and Bertans. Again, I'm going to slightly lean towards Ingram and Bertans there. Teague, Levine, Wiggins, Tatum, Hayes, Kemba, Carter Jr., and Jang, guaranteed cash. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys can be super popular. But that stands out as a good cash game lineup. Probably Finney Smith. Let's see, 4,500 left. What do you like? Oh, yeah, so Finney Smith also, he's what, 4,500? He's a low usage guy, but he's one of the secondary pieces who has been getting consistent minutes, 35, 31, 37, 35. So I don't think if he's playing bad, like Rick Hara will pull him for like 20 minutes or so. So, yeah, you could look there for cash. I don't think he has huge upside, but at that price, he's viable. Running with Teague, Wiggins, Ingram, Bertans, Jang, Kemba, Jalen, Hayes. Let's go, boys. Good luck, everyone. Yep. Anyone have FanDuel? Yeah, never play him. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's going to have a pretty similar cash game lineup, in my opinion. I'm trying to decide right now if I want to sub out Levine for Wiggins. I might take a stand and play Levine. I think he goes a bit lower owned now. Let's see. Okay. Running Levine and Wiggins both definitely viable too. Like I said, I think everyone's going to have a somewhat similar cash game lineup here. I like Levine. Yeah, Levine. I mean, I think I'm probably going to stay Levine. So if I do that, then let's see. I don't think I can fade the Boston guys either. It's tricky. Yeah, I think I'm just going to stay with what I got. So I stole 4 players from that New Orleans-Minnesota game. I have 2 from Minnesota. Teague and Jang, and I have 2 from New Orleans with Hayes and Ingram, and then I have the Boston guys and the Chicago guys. Let's see. Walker, Beal, Wiggins, Plumlee, Jang, Okogie, Brown, Teague for GPPs. So Plumlee, I don't think he gets necessarily a big boost with Millsap out. What was his minutes? He played 34. Did something happen? That was a close game, too. I mean, I was out of town for that, so what happened in that game? Did someone... Jokic didn't get limited, too, did he? I don't know. So, yeah, you could look to Plumlee for GPPs. He played 34 minutes. That's weird. He played a lot next to Jokic. I honestly wasn't really considering Plumlee, but they must have ran Jeremy Grant a good amount at the 3 then. I don't know. That's confusing that Plumlee played so many minutes next to Jokic. Let's see. Sato or Covington, boys? I think it's Covington for cash right now, but I do like Sato a good amount too. Game time, let's get it. Keep Levine. We can eat. Yep, I'm keeping Levine. Locked and loaded. Coke boys. Rozier or Teague? I will go Teague. Damian Lee for Golden State. Can't do it with everyone back now. Just don't think we have to take a shot there. Thanks, dude. Good luck. Of course, man. Good luck, Teague. Even though Rozier is starting, yeah, I would. I think we still go Teague there if we're talking Teague over Rozier. Well, let's go over some ownership in the early game. All right, so in the $40 single entry tournament, let's see. Wendell Carter Jr. 23%, Levine 15%. So those Chicago guys are pretty low owned. Again, I think a lot of people are just going to load up on the Minnesota side, which I have no issue with. Bertans 58%. You know, kind of expected that. I knew he was going to be pretty popular. Mahimi 8%, Clarkson 2%. I think the rest of these guys are just going to be like dart throws. Beal got 35%. That does surprise me a little bit there, with Beal being at 35%. At least in this $40 tournament. I get it, but I don't know if that was the ideal build going there. Tristan Thompson, 7%. Let's look at cash games, see what I'm looking at. So Levine, 7%, Carter Jr., 14%. So it looks like the Chicago guys can go pretty low owned. So that means, in my opinion, everyone's just loading up on the Boston guys and the Minnesota guys. Let's see. Good for GVP. Thank you, DKU, the man. Good luck tonight. Of course, man. Good luck to you guys, too. Bertans, 75%, $5 single entry. Damn. I knew he was going to be pretty popular, right? He's going to have to play big minutes. The one concern is he is somewhat scoring dependent, but at that price with the minutes, he stands out as a good play. Troy Brown and Markkanen, only 8% from me. Yeah, the Chicago guys are going to go low owned just because it's just everyone loading up on those and the Minnesota guys and Boston guys. Let's go to. I went Teague, Wiggins, Bertans, Markkanen, Carter Jr., Kemba, Brown, and Jang. Yeah, I like that a lot too. Looks good. Do you like Kemba, Wiggins, Covington, Porzingis, Hayes, Troy Brown, Bertans, and Teague? I do. The one guy I'm not super high on there is Troy Brown, but there's not a whole lot of great plays kind of in that range, so I don't have an issue with that. Way too high ownership percent in Bertans. He's a little higher owned than I thought. I do like him. I didn't personally go with him, so if he has a good shooting night, I could be drawing dead, but yeah. It looks like with the Chicago guys are where I'm going to live and die with Levine and Wendell Carter Jr. for myself. Both those guys low owned. If they have big nights, it could be a pretty good night for me. I went Teague, Walker, Wiggins, Monk, Brandon Ingram, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Bertans, Zeller. I like that a lot. I think, Monk, if he gets the minutes at that price, if he gets like 25 minutes, could definitely get you there. Zeller stands out as a really good GPP play. Yeah, I like that a lot. Zeller. But yeah, okay, I think I'm going to hop off here, guys. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, it is important. That will be in the description below. I'll give my thoughts as we get news throughout the rest of the night. I will be back for another video for Thursday slate. I'm going to upload that later tonight on my channel, so be on the lookout for that. But thanks again for everyone coming to check out the live stream. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys tomorrow.